It's all covered in today's China Truths.
In the early hours of July 1st, 2025, a thunderous crack tore through the stillness along the Yangtze River near Wanzhou, just upstream of the mighty Three Gorges Dam. An entire mountainside gave way, spewing a raging torrent of mud, rock, and shattered trees. Citrus groves were swallowed whole, roads vanished under sludge, and entire villages were cut off from the outside world. No lives were lost that morning, but the destruction left behind wasn't just a natural disaster. It was a warning shot. This wasn't a freak event. For geologists, it was yet another landslide in a long chain of geological instability stretching over 600 kilometers along the dam's reservoir. But what followed wasn't just a landslide. It was the beginning of a flood season from hell, one that would engulf China from Sichuan to Liaoning, from Hubei to Guangzhou, and behind it all, a regime scrambling to cover up the scale of the disaster. Relentless rain pounded the country. Over 329 rivers surpassed flood warning levels. Flash floods and emergency dam discharges turned cities like Chengdu, Dalian, and Xiangfen into war zones of water and debris. Rural areas didn't stand a chance. Villages vanished in the night as sudden torrents roared down from overloaded reservoirs. The very dam, once hailed as a marvel of Chinese engineering, had become a weapon turned inward on its own people. At the center of this disaster looms the Three Gorges Dam. Marketed as a miracle of modern hydropower, it now exposes the price of political arrogance. The dam's 30-meter swing in water levels, between 145 meters during flood season and 175 meters for power generation, has fractured the earth itself. Soaked hillsides collapse like soggy paper. Roads buckle. Homes split in two. Then came July 16th. 11 massive floodgates were opened, an extreme measure rarely used, unleashing 52,000 cubic meters of water per second. Downstream, panic spread as Dongting Lake and Poyang Lake swelled beyond safety limits. Poyang surged to its largest size in 10 years, over 4,600 kilometers. Earth embankments groaned under the pressure, some still unfinished. And yet, much of it was done in the shadows. According to dam planning expert Dr. Wang Weiluo, these discharges often happen silently, sometimes in the dead of night. The goal? Save the upstream, sacrifice the downstream, hide the damage. This isn't engineering, Wang says, it's politics. Chinese authorities work to control the narrative, scrubbing social media, silencing voices, and managing public opinion. But the truth still emerged, through leaked videos, desperate cries, and the flood-ravaged ruins left behind. The water took everything, inside China's hidden flood nightmare. The rain came fast, and didn't stop. In Xiangfan County, Hubei, overnight skies unleashed 300 mm of relentless downpour. Within 12 hours, streets were no longer streets, but rivers swallowing everything in their path. Cars bobbed like bath toys, bridges crumbled, and 18,000 residents were forced to flee. Ms. Li, who spent her entire life building a modest herbal medicine shop, watched her life's work dissolve in muddy water. Nearby, Ms. Chen clutched her soaked purse and screamed as her brand-new car floated away. She barely made it to higher ground, and this was only one chapter. The Three Gorges Dam, long praised as China's modern marvel, is now a ticking time bomb. Silt trapped behind the dam strangles the reservoir's capacity, triggering premature, violent water releases. Downstream, chaos. Riverbeds erode, saltwater creeps inland, fish farms die, yacht docks sit stranded in mud, too much rain and the dam floods cities. Too little, and power outages spread like wildfire. Entire provinces reel as compensation funds dry up and resettled families are sent to live on fragile hillsides where new landslides await. This isn't just a flood, it's a nationwide unraveling. In Dalian, Liaoning, rain hammered the city for days, 146.5 millimeters in one stretch. Elevators filled with fish, parking garages turned into lakes. A blogger counted 7,649 lightning strikes in one night, calling it Dalian's apocalypse. Trapped residents climbed onto rooftops, waving phones for rescue. The city's much-hyped sponge drainage system? It failed on day one. On Douyin, one soaked resident pointed at submerged vehicles and mocked, "So this is the sponge city they promised?" Elsewhere, silence was deadlier than the water. In Guizhou's Liangjiang County, entire homes vanished in flash floods and mudslides. Locals whispered that the death toll was being hidden. Mr. Li described finding bodies in a supermarket lot. None were counted. "They call it nature's fault," he said bitterly, "to protect their careers." In Nanyang, Henan, 700 mm of rain slammed down in a single day. Then came the secret discharge from Yaohe Reservoir. Ms. Xiao's small shop was swallowed, taking 1.5 million yuan in life savings with it. She stood in the ruins, crying, "No one warned us. The water erased everything." As the devastation spread, outrage lit up Chinese social media, but not for long. Posts vanished. Videos exposing dam releases were scrubbed. Photos of local officials posing in shallow puddles, life jackets on, rubber boats staged, triggered fury. Rescue theater, netizens called it. In one heartbreaking clip, a farmer in Henan stood waist-deep in floodwaters, hands clasped in prayer. "Last month, we begged the sky for rain. Now we beg it to stop. Our land is drowning." But Beijing stayed quiet. Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing was nowhere to be seen. And Xi Jinping? Silent. Commentator Li Lingyi didn't hold back. Xi no longer follows the tradition of Hu Jintao or Wen Jiabao, who walked through flood zones. Now they only show up when the cameras are dry. Behind the flood, behind the suffering, stands a powerful machine, scrubbing the truth, muting the cries, and rewriting disaster into silence. Floods, lies, and noodles, how China handles disaster. As cities drown and homes vanish, China's disaster response has become a dark performance. Central officials arrive just in time for the cameras, offering bags of instant noodles and envelopes of petty cash like tossing coins to beggars. This isn't relief. It's theater. Renowned water expert Dr. Wang Weiluo has a term for what's happening. A gray rhino, a giant threat hiding in plain sight, ignored until it tramples everything. He warns that China has nearly 100,000 reservoirs, with at least 40% structurally unsafe due to thin concrete, rushed construction, and missing inspections. A government that isn't chosen by its people doesn't serve them, Wang said. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the way China handles floods. Flood discharges are rarely announced. Reservoirs suddenly roar open, sending torrents downstream in the dead of night, all to protect the dam and the officials responsible for it. In 2020, authorities in Yichang flatly denied releasing floodwaters from the Three Gorges and Gajuba dams, until videos forced them to admit the truth. This secrecy is now routine. Climate scientist Peter Gleich has called the Three Gorges Dam an environmental catastrophe, and Michael Oxenberg, a political scholar, issued a chilling warning. If a major dam fails, it could shatter the Chinese Communist Party's grip on power. It's not just concrete at stake, it's legitimacy. Yet instead of transparency, the CCP doubles down on censorship. They hide water level data, blame unusual weather, delete viral videos. The disaster, they say, is not systemic, just a storm. But the truth is leaking through the cracks. A flooded economy, drenched in debt. The financial toll of the 2025 floods is staggering. In Shangfen, over 200 shops and 100 vehicles were lost beneath waves. In Dalian, entire underground parking networks and electrical systems were destroyed. Chengdu's tech zones and subway tunnels turned into lakes. Farmland washed away. Fish cages and yacht docks floated into oblivion. In Hunan, hydropower plants released water so suddenly that entire agricultural zones were obliterated. And what's the government's response? Instant noodles and silence. There is no national flood insurance, no full compensation, just paper-thin promises. In Western countries, victims receive direct payouts or insured recovery. In China? "We lost everything," said Mr. Chen, a devastated farmer downstream of the dam. "And they handed us noodles." Provinces are buckling under the cost of maintaining aging reservoirs. Billions are spent every year just to keep them from collapsing. Meanwhile, climate change has supercharged storms. Cities now face 3 to 4 times the historical rainfall, but with 20th century infrastructure. Collapse isn't a question of if, but when. The tsunami that never came. Fear fills the silence. Then came the fear. In early July, panic swept across Dalian, not from official warnings, but from a manga. Ryo Tatsuki's manga The Future I Saw predicted a tsunami on July 5, 2025, 3 times deadlier than Fukushima. No seismic activity, no storm warnings, but that didn't stop residents from stockpiling water and scouting escape routes. "I've never heard thunder last this long," a local blogger wrote. "Should I leave the city now?" The tsunami never came. But the fear revealed a deeper truth. People no longer believe the government. In a country where disasters are buried beneath propaganda, fiction becomes more believable than press conferences. "They say the dam is safe," one Dalian resident said, "but we sleep in shifts, listening for the flood." A broken system, a silenced people. Will China listen? The floods of 2025 aren't just about rising waters, they're about collapsing trust. Behind every submerged village and shattered home lies a deeper crisis: decaying infrastructure, silenced experts, and a government that fears truth more than disaster. This is not a natural tragedy, it's a man-made one. If you've been affected, speak out. If you know someone who has, share their story. Leave a comment. Because while state media erases your pain, the world needs to hear you. This is not just about floods, this is about justice. And it starts with truth.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.